You've all probably seen plenty of videos on the new SMG, the Adjudicator, but what if I told you that you're chasing the wrong god roll? Apart from going over the perk pool, we're going to address a lot of issues with the gun that other people are not talking about. Like the recoil direction with deterministic recoil, like whether target lock is worth it, and why zoom matters even after range was decoupled from zoom. But what we're actually going to start with is why you should seriously consider this SMG over its direct competition, the Unending Tempest. Both SMGs are 600 RPM SMGs in that first slot that have very powerful origin traits. Now, the Adjudicator's origin trait crossing over in my eyes has the edge. For the top half of the magazine, it provides more range and handling, whilst the bottom half of the magazine, it gives a small damage bonus. Now, community testing puts this at 10 range and 10 handling at the top of the magazine, going down to 5 and 5 in the middle point. But because you're going to have a fully reloaded weapon in most engagements, you will get the maximum benefit. Nadir Focus, the origin perk on Unending Tempest, also provides a 10 range bonus, but it requires a little bit of time to ramp up to 5 stacks to provide 10 range. In most SMG engagements, your furthest point of engagement is going to be the start, and as you get deeper into the duel, you will likely close the gap more and more. And for that reason, I actually prefer crossing over, because you get the maximum range benefit at the start of a duel. Stats wise, they're very similar, but the Adjudicator has slightly more range, very similar stability, and a little less aim assist. Where the feel of the gun really changes is that the Adjudicator has less zoom. It has 13 zoom instead of 14. Now, 13 zoom for an SMG isn't ideal. Zoom still plays a big part in drop-off distances for both aim assist and accuracy. Even though the range isn't affected anymore, I just find 13 zoom SMGs just don't feel as sticky as 14 zoom SMGs like the Unending Tempest at those higher ranges of engagement. But luckily, in that third column, we have a direct fix for this: Rangefinder. For the first time in a long time since the range nerf, I'm recommending Rangefinder over every other perk in a column. That increased zoom just feels so much better for this SMG. There are 2 other perks worth mentioning in that column for PvP. In close second is Dynamic Sway Reduction, which provides more stability and more accuracy as you hold down the trigger, which is going to make it much easier to land those all-important headshots, especially near the end of a duel where bloom is heaviest. Perpetual Motion is serviceable for the increased stability and handling, but honestly the first 2 perks destroy it in my eyes. In the final column, let's address the elephant in the room: Target Lock, which is an absolute no-go for this SMG after the nerf. It now kicks in way later into the magazine and doesn't have as much of an impact on TTK. Well, now with the new update and 230 health, it takes 10 bullets without Target Lock to kill a 10 Resilience Guardian at 0.9 seconds. And with Target Lock, it still takes 10 bullets to kill a 10 Resilience Guardian. It doesn't actually shift the TTK of this archetype of SMGs. You actually have to combine Target Lock with Crossing Over's bottom half of the magazine damage buff to get it to 9 bullets and shift the TTK. And what about Overshield Titans? Normally it would take 12 bullets to kill an Overshield Titan with 275 health, and Target Lock does reduce this to 11 bullets or a 0.1 second TTK reduction. But yeah, in a normal duel against a 10 Resilience Guardian, you're not going to see much benefit with Target Lock. What about the other perks in the column? Well, I've seen a lot of people recommending Fragile Focus, which is a massive 20 range bump until your shields are broken. But for this SMG, you can actually hit 100 range without the perk. Here we have a full bore accurized rounds range masterwork Adjudicator, and it hits 91 range. And then with the origin trait, that's already 100 range. So even if we use something like Hammer Forge rifling instead of full bore, that's 96 range in total with the origin trait. So yeah, Fragile Focus's 20 range bonus with a god roll is pretty redundant. If you don't have a god roll and you have a pretty average roll, then Fragile Focus can be pretty good. But if you have the right roll, you do not need Fragile Focus. It's a wasted perk most of the time. And then we have Onslaught, one of the best kill chaining perks in the game, and this is the first ever SMG to get this perk. Each kill subsequently ramps the weapon's RPM, making it shoot faster and faster. At times 1, you get a 16% reduction in firing delay, at times 2 a 28% reduction, and then at times 3 a whopping 37% reduction in firing delay. This means the gun goes from 600 RPM to 714 RPM to 833 RPM all the way to a whopping 950 RPM. Yes, with a ×3 Onslaught, you actually shoot faster than 900 RPM and the TTK is devastatingly small. Originally, my recommendation was going to be Fragile Focus for 3s and Onslaught for 6v6 game modes, but with a high range god roll, there's absolutely no need for Fragile Focus, just go for Onslaught with everything. Before I get onto my god roll, let's go over the recoil direction of the gun. Ever since the deterministic recoil changes, it becomes really important to test the recoil of a gun out, as now not every gun's recoil is improved with counterbalance. At the base 93 recoil, the gun shoots with a very slight left leaning recoil. With counterbalance at 100 recoil, it shoots virtually straight. It's not a massive difference, but I am very picky about my recoil. I like it to be straight to make gunfights easier, so I will be recommending counterbalance here. So here's my finalized god roll. Full bore, accurized rounds, rangefinder, Onslaught, range masterwork with a counterbalance mod. With this roll, you have 100 range SMG at nearly all times, you combat the negatives of 13 zoom, and you have a damage perk that can ramp up all the way to 950 RPM, which reduces the TTK of the gun from 0.9 seconds all the way down to just 0.57 seconds. You could change full bore to something like small bore or hammer forged rifling, but honestly, if you're an M&K player or if you're using the new dead zone settings on controller, I wasn't finding full bore very hard to control. If you enjoyed what I talked about today, remember to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel for more Destiny videos, both PvP and PvE. I'm Mr. Ronit, and that's it for today. Peace out, guys.